Right, hello and welcome to Conference and Event Management. If you've got this DVD, it means you have survived finance with me. And hopefully you will find this module just as fun, maybe a little bit more fun, depends which way your mind ticks. But this is actually a module I'm really passionate about, and if I had the time on my timetable I would teach this module even more, this along with finance. But as it is, I just get to teach you lot, and that's perfect for me. Before we carry on with the introduction session, I'm going to start off by explaining what I have done with my videos for this module, and hopefully that will go some way to compensating for Mark Hillier, who will bound to proofread my work and tell me what I haven't done right. But I taught this module last year, and so what I have tried to do is actually cobble together some of the videos from last year and some I have redone. So for example, this introduction has been re-recorded and some of the conclusions have been updated because chapters in the book have changed and there's a new edition. So if sometimes the continuity is a little bit weird or I sound a bit different, it's because I've redone the video this year, maybe compared to last year. But I just wanted to say that for starters. And if it is really awful, will you please let me know? I'm sure you will, Mark. Can you please let me know so that I can make sure I improve that for next year, and possibly will re-record the whole thing if I need to. So as I say, I won't be offended if you tell me the whole thing doesn't work and it's all a bit piecemealed and is a bit messy, but hopefully it will also explain why it might sound a little bit different, and hopefully it won't impact too much on the studying. So let's go on now and look at what you can expect from these lessons. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to do an introduction to start with, and I want you just to get your head around looking at the assignment and the scheme of work and where all your materials are and so on and so forth. And then what we will do is look at the size and scope of the conference and events industry in London and the UK, look at what an event actually is and appreciate the impact of events on the economy, and also thinking about event tourism. All of the lessons are quite heavily linked to the core text, and I'll come back to that in a minute. One of the things that you might find based on my videos from last year is that I talk quite a lot about the royal wedding because we were leading up to that. And I've talked a lot about London 2012, which thankfully this year is still very relevant. Obviously next year I will definitely have to change my videos and change the flavour a little bit. But now we're getting closer to the actual event, I'm sure that you will appreciate it a little bit more, and we know a little bit more than we did last year. So first of all, I am your tutor, and I think you all know me by now. So there's not a lot to say. I've met you all on a couple of occasions, and I've taught you all, so you know what to expect, and you know where I am and how accessible I am and how to get in touch with me. And just in case you don't, these are my contact details, and of course if you ever see me online on Facebook or MSN, you know I'm happy to have a little chat, and I will be honest if I'm not around or not available or I just want to go and do something else. And I know you won't be offended by that, and you can always email me anyway. So the actual learning outcomes for the module are based on the module descriptor, but those include explaining the role and function of conferences and events in the context of the hospitality industry. But we're also going to be evaluating the strategic planning, couldn't say that, can I? Strategic planning of an identified conference or specific event or function, and reflecting on and evaluating its success. And our third learning outcome is to develop awareness of the significant strategic, operational, marketing and budgetary aspects of the conference and event function, looking at case study analysis along the way. Your scheme of work you can find in your folder as well as on Moodle, and that feeds out what we're going to be looking at, the key theories we're going to be looking at, what the homework is, and once again, a bit like with the finance module, there'll be little exercises or workshops to do. Now with conference and event, it's really relevant to your actual assignment brief. even more so than the finance module was. But also what I've done for the workshops is I've made wikis available to you to put your feedback and thoughts on those. So rather than the submission links that I had for finance, you've got wikis to feed back on. And if you decide you want to do a sort of group wiki as time moves on for the assignment, which I will explain in a minute, then if you let me know, I can try and set up groups within the wikis. Try. I can't guarantee, but I will try. But we can go from there, perhaps in the chat room when we have a chat after lesson 1. So the assignment is all based around 2 tasks. The first task is a group presentation in relation to the bid, and attached to this lesson and in the assignment folder you will find some additional information that Jamie has provided, because your scenario is going to be the NVQ dinner. Now most of you have been to that, I suspect, at some point, and if you haven't, you need to make sure you work with someone who has been to it. And the idea is that we want you to come up with some new ideas for how we could execute that event in September, October time. So, you know, when would it take place and where would it take place? And Jamie's put quite a lot of ideas down that you can have a look at. That's Jamie Webb Fryer, and you can contact him to ask him more questions and so on, and I will formalise that at some point, and we can go through that in the emails and chat room as well. So it's going to be a group presentation, so somehow you need to record your presentation as a group. Now you can either all get together or you can split it into 3 or 4 sections. I would suggest you work in groups of 3. I'm quite happy with 4, but you either quite evenly split into 3 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 3. So you just need to let me know. And if you're locationally near each other, I would suggest you work that way if you're going to be quite close to each other. And that way, if you want to, you can all get together and do the presentation in one fell swoop and record it. And if you aren't so near each other, you might want to piecemeal it together and send your information through to each other somehow. And we can possibly look at some way that you can have access to do that electronically through me or through Moodle. So that's the group presentation, and it's in relation to preparing the NVQ dinner bid. The second part of your assignment will actually be an individual evaluation of the presentation, and based on feedback from myself and hopefully Jamie, how you could go about improving the bid. So you may want to take some time in a minute just to have a look at that assignment. So perhaps when we finish the introductory video here, go and have a look at the assignment and the scheme of work before you crack on with the materials. And that way you'll be really familiar with what to expect and how you can use the assignment to help you in the little workshop activities as you move through the lessons. The core text is this book, Events Management, and this is the 3rd edition. Last year we were using the 2nd edition. You can buy this, but actually also there is it's available on Moodle. We've got an ebook of it, and I've put all the links for that, how to access that, actually on Moodle. So if you go into Moodle, you have to be online to read it. You can't sort of download it. So you need to bear that in mind. If you're going to use it to do your reading, you need to have internet access, and if you don't, then you may well want to consider buying this as your core text. But if you click on the picture in Moodle while you're logged in, it should take you straight through to the e-library that is all part of the college. Now if you can't do that, it also gives you instructions of how to find it by logging into the e-library separately, and that's actually by going through the Learning Resources tab at the top of your Moodle page. So follow those instructions, and again, before you crack on with the lesson materials, make sure you can access the core text. But as I say, you don't have to buy it. You can use it as an ebook, which is quite exciting, I think. It's a great opportunity. So just to finish off the introduction, are there any questions so far? And if there are, you might want to email those to me, or you might just want to jot them down, and we can go through those questions in our chat room tutorial. So before you crack on with the next video, make sure you have a look at the module descriptor, your scheme of work, your assignment pack, and how you get hold of your core text. And once you've done all of that and you feel quite prepared for what to expect from the module and what it's going to give you, you can start to move on to the lesson materials. And as I say, I apologise in advance if they seem a little bit disjointed or a little bit not very fluent. Hopefully you won't notice it, but I know Mark will tell us if it doesn't. So have fun, enjoy conference and event. I'm really looking forward to your ideas about the MVQ dinner, and I know Jamie is as well, so that'd be quite exciting. And if there's some good ones, he will definitely use those to actually reinvent the MVQ dinner. So you can have your own input in there and your own say, and get some recognition too. So enjoy the assessment as well as working hard on it, and also think about who you want to work with too, and then we can sort that out in tutorial in week 1.